following is a presentation of Epic eSports Radio Network. Live from Oregon, broadcasting around the world, you're listening to the Coach's Corner Radio Show. Sit back as we provide in-depth analysis covering all your favorite sports. Football, baseball, soccer. There's not a sport that we don't cover. So step up to the plate. Get ready for a hit. We're putting on a show, and Coach Craven's hosting it. So without further ado, we proudly present to you your host, Coach Brian Craven.
Welcome back, Sim fans. This is Coach's Corner, and we have for you today, we have the second part of the Ross Napoli interview. Ross Napoli from the Louisiana Revolution. In this segment, we're going to chat a little bit about his charity initiative that Ross brought to us this year, and a lot of teams and a lot of players in the league are participating. Ross is going to give us some details on that, how their charity is going, Stackup, and just a few things like that. We're going to touch on some of the other players in the league. Going to mention my boy Doug Britton, Tom Rahman, and just some good stuff. We got some good stuff off the field happening in the league, and we want to give them a little credit. We're going to talk about league expansion. We're going to talk about roster expansion. We're going to talk about the minors, the draft, all kinds of fun stuff. It's a good show, a little bit longer than the first one, so but it is what it is. We just can't help ourselves. So enjoy. I hope hope things are going well, and here we go. Ross, you and Johnny came on early in the year, and we talked about the charity initiative, which was a fantastic idea. I will admit that I was a little, and I get why, but I was disappointed we didn't go more like actual league traction with it. Right. But I understand their reasoning, and I think that if I understand correctly, we kind of got some things in place. Doesn't like the deal with Pledge It kind of help with that? Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put false information out there, but I think one of the things they were concerned about was if we were publicizing this and then people didn't follow through or something like that. But does that sound familiar?
Yes, and originally when I first brought the idea to Cam, it was a valid concern. That Cam said, "Listen, I'm not saying that it's not a great idea. I like it." One, I was bringing it to him, and we were very close to the start of the season. Mm-hmm. So that was another thing where I totally was expecting that the league was not going to be able to dedicate resources to trying to spearhead it, and which we knew, and those were conversations that Johnny and I had when we were putting this together. But valid concern was, hey, it's great that people can say this is what they want to do. But if you don't have a way to stay on top of it, what happens if you get somebody to say, okay, I'm a quarterback and I'm going to give $5 for every touchdown that I throw. Mm-hmm. And then the guy throws 30 touchdowns. And if he hasn't been contributing to that all year, and now it comes time at the end, and he owes $150.
Right.
Who's to say that it's going to get paid and collected? And so I could totally understand everyone having great intentions in the beginning and not being able to follow through with it. And I also understood the league not wanting to be the, hey, don't worry, we're going to come up with a way to collect this money for you, which was nothing that I ever wanted the league to do, but I could totally understand why they wouldn't even want to, volunteer to be that.
Right, right.
Another important facet, which we were worried about, which kind of got solved with the Stackup thing, Stackup with the Pledge It, was that, what happens if this was an individual team by team thing, which was initially how we pitched it out to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what is each team going to do? Are they going to nominate one figurehead who's going to spear this up for the team? And what is that person going to be the one that collects all the money? And then how does everybody know when they gave their money to that one person, that that one person did with the money what they, what it was intended to do? And, I valued the devil's advocate conversation with Cam because you go into these things where you just want to do good, right? So you're like, oh no, this is great. We're just going to raise money for charity. And people say they're going to donate money and then they will. And, hey, everything's unicorns and rainbows, right? This is great. It's
right.
going to be fantastic. And then it turns out that, listen, whether financially you won't be able to do it at the end or other things come up and you don't want it to damage the cause. So
Right.
I totally value that. And so Johnny and I set out to say, well, we're going to need a platform where people can do it, sign up to something, and then the organization is going to be the one that does it. And Johnny was the one that found Pledge It and said, hey, there are athletes out there in the NFL that use it. Phillip Rivers uses it for his own charity.
Right.
Any one of us can go out and donate to Phillip Rivers charity. And once he did that, and Johnny did a lot of work to get this off the ground. I mean, by no mistake was it a great idea to have Johnny being the one that I partnered with to do this, because he knows a lot of people. He was definitely in touch with this because of charity work he had done prior. And when he had found this and spoke with the people at Pledge It and saw, what it was definitely the saving grace for the initiative. Because I don't think if we came across Pledge It, I don't think we would have been able to keep pushing it out the way that we wanted to. Not that everybody ended up using the Pledge It platform, but
Right.
I think we were confident enough to keep pushing forward saying, hey, if you don't have a way that you want to be responsible about this, here is the alternative. And once we knew we could offer something to somebody to do it, I think it really helped us go ahead and push it. And I know Fort Worth's been doing a lot of great work with their local charity and a lot of people involved in it. I know the same thing with you guys in Lone Star, same thing with us in Stackup. And I really hope it is something that grows on a season by season thing. And, I do think that ultimately what's going to weigh in on promotion from the league is going to be proof of the results, right? So all the stuff that you guys have done for your charity, when we're able to turn around to the league and say, look, this is what we've been saying the whole time. This is where we said it went. And here is factual proof that we donated that money.
Right.
Same thing with us, right? We're using Pledge It. Anybody can see it. But when the league turns around at the end and said, look, these guys used this platform, so it's proven that this money went to Stackup, I think that helps the cause.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what I'm really hoping, that at the end of the season, we could all turn around to the league and Fort Worth can show their long ledger of all of their guys that did something, and Lone Star can do the same, and we can. And I know there was a handful of guys that did it on their own. Tom Rahman joined Pledge It on his own and did it. Doug Britton joined his own, and they had individual pages. When these guys can all show that I signed up and I did it and it went to where we said it was, I think if the league can find a way to make it uniform, hey, listen, if the league turns around and says maybe we can work out some sort of a deal with Pledge It,
right.
Maybe Pledge It becomes a little bit of a sponsor type thing, or a little advertising during our games, or however it goes, that's between the league and its affiliate deals. But it's very easy for us. Anybody can go on stackup.org and look up what my twin screw has raised, what I have raised, and I can tell you how it goes because I had to attach my credit card, and so did the two other guys who have attached themselves to my thing. And once a month, Pledge It debits my credit card equal to the stats that are logged into my my pledge. So I had two other guys on and add $2 a sack per mine, and I'm doing $10 a sack. So every time I get a sack in a game, it's worth $14. 2 coming from 2 different guys and 10 coming from me.
Okay.
And once a month, we just bill our credit cards. It goes right to Pledge It, and then Pledge It makes those donations to Stackup. And so it's a very clean exchange. There's no money on top of it. There's no fees. I'm not paying more than, than what it is for them to do it. Pledge It is using it that way, and it is going very smoothly. And I hope it's the platform that the league decides to say moving forward, we'd love to see this be a bigger initiative. Let's do something with Pledge It, because we know if you do it through them, the money goes where it says it does.
Right. That's fantastic. I love the idea of giving back a little bit. I just think it's very easy to be consumers. This is an opportunity for us to do more than that. Any conspiracy theorist out there that are paying attention, I think at this point I'm going to end up with about half the tackles I had last season. It's not because of the charity, I swear. I'm trying. I blame my teammates. Every time Doug Day gets a tackle before me, it's his fault. So, but hey, he's donating the same cause, so I guess it's okay. And
that's what the great thing is, right? That's why initially, when I even pitched it to you, right, you were one of the first people I came to and said, hey, what do you think about this? Is this something that you think people would be receptive to? The whole idea was basically to get teams as a whole behind it, right? So that if all, like you guys did, like we did, if there's one cause or one charity that the entire team can go around, now it's exactly what you're talking about. Now, if every one of those linebackers are doing something, well, in essence, it doesn't matter who made the tackle now.
That's right.
Because no matter what happens, the charity is getting, the charity is getting the donation for that. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that even if people went on and, it's another reason why I thought people would jump on, right? Because on an individual basis, people may say, well, I want it to mean something. That's what I did. I didn't know how people were going to go on. And listen, I was, coming out of the draft, I was an undersized defensive end, right? We talked about this. And I just figured, but I want my guys' stats to do something. So I'm not expecting to be anywhere near the league lead in sacks. So I'm going to make my sacks worth more. So that this way, instead of having my guy do something and then, listen, at the end, I could have always just made a donation on top of it, which I probably will do anyway. But I wanted the stats to really be what was driving it, right? So I said, all right, I'm going to do $10 a sack. Yeah. And I'm glad that I did. And I'm glad that I did, because with the way that our season was going, week 1, I had none. And then week 2 and 3, I had 2 sacks each week. I was like, oh, this is great. Then weeks, 3 through 9, I didn't have any. And then, and then last week I had 3.
Right.
So, it's turned out nicely that now after 10 games, my guy at least has 7 sacks, and so with them each being $14 a piece, like I know I've made a decent contribution so far, 2 more games, and then hey, I could always put something on top of it. To make it a larger donation. But when an entire team gets behind it, I think it's easy for somebody else to just go, all right, you want to know what? I'm a defensive lineman. I'll do, 25 cents or 50 cents a sack. Well, okay, it may not be much. Maybe at the end of the whole thing, you ended up contributing, $7. But if every guy did something different on that defensive line as a unit, maybe you guys do 50 or 60. And then if everybody else on the defense did something, and even if it's only 25 cents here, 50 cents there, if everyone collectively is doing it, it becomes something. And, that's what I was hoping. And that's why I was really thrilled with guys like Fort Worth and you guys having a majority of the team contributing and doing things or whatever and stuff. That's what this was meant to be. And my hat's off to that really, grabbed this thing and went with it as well. And it's hopefully it's something that, kind of leads to bigger things.
Well, and you another piece to this is it raises awareness about some of these things, because I didn't know anything about Stackup, for example. I never heard of that. And Dave's the one, I think because his wife has done work with Operation Zero that we're doing. And that was another thing that I hadn't heard of. And looking at some of the things, and it escapes me now what Ramen is doing. Play Like a Girl or something like that. It's something like that. I think I'd heard of that one, but I didn't know much about it. But seeing some of these things pop up has been, like, oh, I wonder what that's about. And I've gone and looked at a few of them. And even if I'm not really able to help with others to know about these things, it's nice. It's nice. So that's another benefit.
And just to give a little bit more, like, since we've basically almost covered everybody that's there, the other two that were a part of it, which I think are extremely important things. And so for anybody who's listening who don't know what the two causes were, Fort Worth did a local charity, right? And I believe, I'm doing this off of memory now, but I believe their charity is called A Wish with Wings, which is basically a local, like, Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's for Fort Worth youth.
Yes, I think you're right.
Granting wishes, and fantastic cause. I mean, any charity is a great cause to be giving to, but that's a fantastic thing. And another person who started something, wanted to be behind something, but is not reaping the benefits right now because of stats, I know, is our friend from San Jose, Doug Britton, who started a Pledge It page for his player. Now he is a rookie fullback, and so it's, you're not reaping the glory of scoring touchdowns and doing things where you can really rack up statistics for that. But I would just encourage everybody, if possible, to at least research Doug's Pledge It page. And although it wasn't something that could have been attached to it, not that it wasn't attached to stats, but that because of, like I said, with the way the fullback is used in our league and doing things, that the stats really weren't going to be there. Doug's cause is something to do with childhood narcolepsy, and which I know is a personal thing with him. And I had spoken. It's something that affects his daughter, who plays sports. Touching story. And it's just something that really opened my eyes, because you just don't think of it. And so I would just urge anybody listening to this who would like to, even though it's late in the season or whatever the case is, to find Doug's Pledge It page, and I'll actually post it in one of the content pages again under player content soon. After the show comes out, so that people know where to find it. And if it's something that maybe people towards the end of the season or whatever, even if you just wanted to make a one-time donation to it, Doug's a great guy, and it's a great cause that touches him individually, and anything that affects anybody's family directly, especially your children. Any one of us who could do something for that. There's a guy who had the right idea and wanted to jump onto this and wants to raise awareness for something that directly affects his family. But he was the opposite side of this, right? We all thought it was going to be a great thing to attach a dollar amount to your stats. And there are just some positions in our game that are not going to rack up those stats. So I would just urge anybody who could, I'll post it out there again, like I said, in the player content page, so people could see it again, to just click it, read anything about it that you can. And if anybody could make a donation to Doug's charity, that would be a great thing, because he wanted to be part of this to raise the awareness and stuff. And it's just, like I said, you just end up playing a position, that doesn't really rack up the stats. So it doesn't help the cause in that way. But awareness will, because anybody can click and just make a donation. You didn't have to attach it to a stat.
Well, and I'm leaving myself a note right now. I'm going to ask Cam about putting a link to that in the description when we release this on YouTube. with Epic eSports.
Yes, absolutely. I think it would be a great thing.
I mean, I think it's probably pretty easy, but as has been well established, I'm kind of a caveman with a rock when it comes to technology. So I'm going to leave that to the smart guys.
Yes, and we have a lot of red tape in the content channels, So we have to, you have to find the right, spot for that.
Yep.
I mean, listening to your show is great, and that's why I wanted attached to, after the show comes out to do it. But of course, there's, the more appropriate places to post something, and I just wanted in the spot, of course, where. Obviously, if it could be attached right with your show, everybody who goes to listen to it, the link will be right there by the time they hear this portion to at least check it out.
Yeah, actually, yeah. We're gonna look at putting a link to all of them in the description, so that anyone listening to the show on YouTube can go right through those. So we're gonna. So let's link in the description, unless Cam tells me I'm an idiot and we can't do it, in which case I apologize. All right, that was part 2 of my interview with Ross Napoli. Spent a little bit of time there talking about the charity initiative and some of the details involved with that. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did not have the opportunity to participate, maybe think about next season, looking at some way you can give back. If not, hey, everybody's in the circumstances, things are going great for all of us, so we don't want you giving money you can't afford. But every little bit helps. If all you do is get the word out a little bit, that helps too. So we appreciate everything, and I want to thank Ross for his efforts, along with Johnny Pickler, in making this happen. We have a third segment for you. We got to looking in the editing process, and we realized it was just too big a bite all at once. So you're going to get a third show, either later today or later on in the week. I'm not sure which. And we're going to talk about the minors and the league in general and some other stuff. And I hope you stick around or come back for that. So for now, this has been Coach's Corner, brought to you by Epic eSports. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
You've been listening to the Coach's Corner podcast with Coach Brian Craven, an Epic eSports Radio Network exclusive. If you enjoyed today's show, tell a friend. Make sure never to miss an episode by subscribing to Epic eSports on YouTube or downloading on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and be sure to enable all notifications so you never miss our newest content. Thank you for listening.